Good morning. I've always loved numbers. For some reason, numbers have always fascinated me, and I've loved working with numbers in math or stats, but I've also always liked to associate numbers with specific things. For example, I've been to the emergency room 3 times. I have only ever not finished eating a full rack of ribs once. I know I had to push the tune button on my car radio 7 times to get between 2 stations I listen to. I keep the TV volume at either 18 or 21. I will graduate in 116 days. The point is, I use numbers to remember important things. While those numbers certainly are important, there have been a few in my life that have stuck with me and taught me a lot. This is the greatest number ever created. I wore 42 throughout my glorious high school football career, and my friends could tell you I'm very proud of this number. When I look at the number 42, I'm reminded of all the lessons I learned while playing sports. I certainly did learn the values of dedication and teamwork, but the most important lesson I learned was something much greater. I love football season. It's something I look forward to every single year, and this year, being a senior, I knew it would be my last opportunity to play. Unfortunately, I dislocated my shoulder making a tackle. And the doctor told me I was done for the year. I lost it. I cried for the rest of the half, and it was ugly. I cried not because my shoulder was hurting, but because I no longer get to play this game that I loved. This experience taught me never to take anything for granted, because you never know when it could be taken away from you. I've always heard people give this advice. In fact, one of my favorite football players of all time, Peyton Manning, said in his retirement press conference, "Enjoy the little things in life, because one day you will look back and discover that those really were the big things." Even after hearing it from a 5-time MVP, 14-time Pro Bowl, 2-time Super Bowl winning, future Hall of Fame quarterback who holds 21 major NFL records, I never completely took it to heart. Since then, I've done my best to fully appreciate the people around me and get the absolute most out of everything I do. Also, notice where I made the tackle, that is the 42-yard line. This is pi. Pi means a lot to me because my grandfather and I have shared a fascination with it ever since I was young, and he would use it in his classic grandfatherly life lessons. Pi is normally known as 3.14, but my grandfather, my former rocket engineer grandfather, knew it as 3.1416. I thought it was so cool that he knew 4 digits of pi, which was a whole 2 more than most everyone else. So me, being competitive, proceeded to turn this into a challenge of who could recite more digits of pi. I only needed to learn 5. At the time, I learned 27. 3.14159265358979323846264338433843, and it goes on. I promise I don't have that written down either. One day, he found a website that had 1 million digits of pi written out, and he had the genius idea of printing it. It took us half an hour, an entire ream of paper, and we had to refill the printer twice. To this day, I keep that in my desk drawer at home to remind me of all the great lessons he's taught me. He's the strongest-willed, most faithful, and wisest person I know. And he's certainly taught me to value those qualities, but the greatest thing he's taught me is that I can't change pi. By that he means, if engineers today decided to suddenly use a different value for pi, nothing would work. In the same way, nothing would be right if I tried to change the way things were meant to be. So instead, I believe that whatever is supposed to happen will happen, and there's no point in worrying. This number is very important to me for many reasons. 2017 will be a year that will bring many exciting changes, but it also represents the things I've learned from my classmates over the past 15 years. I've always been a part of the class of 2017, but I've held this distinction with a few different groups. At my old school, my 5th grade class consisted of only 7 people. Having gone to school together since pre-K, we were very, very close, and these were the first friends to teach me to value friendships. We shared many great memories, and in the time since, they've taught me that even though people may drift apart, friendships don't have to. At Oakridge, this group has grown considerably. I've made many new friends and learned something new from each of them. Don't be afraid to have a different opinion than everybody else. Find what you're good at and own it. The number of times you get knocked down doesn't matter. It's how many times you get back up. Always be kind, and don't waste time on scary thoughts, but instead find happiness in every day. So while you may just see a bunch of numbers that remind you how much you hate math, I see much, much more. I see memories made and lessons learned. For the record, throughout my speech I used 17 different numbers, but who's counting? Thank you.